All right. Hello, everyone. Good morning from the Pacific Northwest. My name is Nancy Rebecca. Welcome to my YouTube channel. And today, the theme of this talk, it is the September frequency forecast. So I've been kind of tapping into the vibe, the frequencies of what's going on, what we can expect. And I'm calling it September's breaking point, why it's okay to fall apart. And I'm going to be using the Humpty Dumpty theme throughout this whole talk because that's what Spirit showed me. And so let's jump in. So first of all, I just want to welcome the community that is always faithfully here. And if this is your first time joining me live, I'm here every Thursday at 7 a.m. So I'd like to welcome you to our community, which is incredibly awesome. So hello from, is it Coquel, Oregon? Hi from Glastonbury, is that Connecticut? Peace River, Alberta, another Alberta, Guadalajara. I have a dear friend that lives there. Fort Myers, Florida, Austria, Virginia Beach, expecting high waves. Is that from the Hurricane Erin? Hello from Sweden. Hello from Warsaw, Missouri, another Sweden. Canadian Rockies. I find it interesting today. There seems to be these like names that are in Europe, but they're also here in the United States and they're kind of crossing over. Hello, Teresa from Rogers, Arkansas. I've been craving those fried pickles. And Yorkshire, England. All right, I'm going to hop in and we're going to have a great meditation today. So I hope that you can stay on live. It'll only be about 10 minutes, but you're going to feel a lot better. So let me just jump in here. September doesn't come in with whispers, so just get ready. It comes with broad, undeniable strokes that it's not about quiet transitions, but loud turning points that can ripple through families, communities, even nations. And we're really seeing that right now. And just like Humpty Dumpty, sometimes we fall and no amount of pretending is going to glue all those pieces back together again. And so, but what if the breaking is exactly what is needed to help set us free? What if the cracks are places where new light can enter into your life? This is September's lesson. Hello from Saratoga, New York. So that sense, have you been feeling it? I'm really curious because I will tell you, in the last couple of weeks, I feel like Dorothy that's been picked up by the tornado in the house and it's spinning around and it's going higher and higher and higher and higher. And it is out of control. And then boom, the house drops into the land of Oz. I don't think I'm quite in the land of Oz yet, but that's another scenario that we're talking about where that's what it felt for me and my life. And we've covered all the bases between mental health, emotional health, physical health. It's thank goodness we have a good sense of humor in our family because whoa, it's just been turned upside down. So I'd love to hear from you if you've been experiencing some big things as well. And I will just say several of those days were spent in emergency rooms. And when I was talking to the staff in the emergency room, they're just like, wow, we have never seen anything like this. So that impact has been really big. Those ripples have been really going across. So that sense that something big is stirring, you are not wrong about that. And it's not quietly, but loudly. And September isn't coming through like a whisper, it's roaring. And the energy of September, it's bold, it's intense, it's deeply personal. And many of us are already feeling the tremors in our families, relationships, communities, and in our own bodies. And I have to say, you know, when I mentioned that personal piece, when it was happening in our family, I was just like, is this just our family or is this something bigger, global? And I learned very quickly we were not alone in the shifts and expansions and the drop kicks We were not alone in that. So if life feels like it's speeding up, spinning out, pressing in, you're not alone. So in September, this frequency forecast is about a conversation about what's really happening beneath the surface, how we can meet it with strength, softness, and most importantly, soul. So, why is September's energy feeling like a tidal wave more than a gentle nudge? Well, we're going to learn how to kind of ride those waves, how to reset it, how to come together again. And that's going to be in the meditation. And why are some of the bonds cracking while others are deepening? And so you may realize that there's a lot of people who are crossing over, a lot of people dying, crossing over to the other side. It's like this massive earth portals opening up, and it's like, okay, here's my opportunity. I'm getting on this bus. And so there's a lot of people choosing to cross over at this time. So they really want to help from the other side, from that spiritual side. They want to get over there. They want to get settled. They want to start, assisting and supporting us here on earth. But there's a lot of things in between that as well. There are psychological patterns that are surfacing, like boundaries being crossed, drama cycles, chaotic cycles, emotional overreactions. Anybody having emotional overreactions? And how do you stay grounded in the midst of those? And what is most important about my talk today is that it's okay to fall. Now, I am not an astrologist. So I had to go through and kind of pick apart some of the highlights that are happening astrologically in September. But I am inviting my astrological chart readers in this community, if you have anything else to add, so that our listeners can have those extra touches of what exactly is happening in September, please feel free to add those. So here's the big thing, like Neptune transitioning from Pisces into Aries, Saturn briefly dipping back into Pisces, and then before heading back into Aries, ushering in personal responsibility and new cycles of initiation. So on September 1st, Saturn and Pisces restructuring emotional foundations and responsibilities. September 4th, Mars and Jupiter, sudden ambition, potential overreach, mass momentum. How about September 7th? We're going to have a total lunar eclipse, emotional releases, deep shifts from chaos. And boy, I'm like, whoa. It was like I had this woman screaming, and then somebody's dog was running away, and it was just utter chaos outside my house. And it was just like, what is happening in the world? And then we head into mid-September, where you're going to have Mercury and its insights and clear direction emerging out of chaos. September 21st will be the autumn equinox. I haven't set it up for the group reading yet, but I highly encourage. Once that link's available, I'll make sure that you all receive it. But I'm telling you, you really want to get involved in even not just September, but this whole fall season in any group uplifting activities that you can do, really aligning with your friends who are also open-minded. I heard Jane Goodall, she said, have an open mind, but a narrow focus. And I thought that is perfect for this time that we are in. And so the solar eclipse is happening on partial solar eclipse. It's happening on September 21st and then September 24th. Intense transformation with Mars and Pluto, power, conflicts, and breakthroughs. So I don't know about you, but I do like to know if I should put my 5-point seatbelt on or not and to get ready. But you know what? When it starts to happen, it doesn't even feel like you could have prepared enough. And so that's why the theme is Humpty Dumpty. So let me just talk about Let me just get my little sheet of paper here. Let me take a little sip of coffee. Nice, nice, nice. So, okay. So there's a lot of collective feeling, a lot of things that are happening. September is carrying a heavy weight. We can feel it in the frequency. It's not subtle, it's not quiet. And many of us are already feeling whipped up into emotional frenzies where we might be facing a health crisis, sudden family shifts, unexpected community events. And I do, here personally, there was, well, I do remember about a month ago when I was saying in this kind of fall season, there was going to be a lot of physical health issues. And I can't remember who I was talking to, and they said, yeah, but it's also going to be emotional and mental too, right? And I'm like, well, sure, it's going to impact us emotionally, it's going to impact us mentally, but it's the physical that's going to have the potential to get turned upside down. And it doesn't mean that everybody's going to have physical health issues, but whenever you have a big kind of frequency shift, if you've got anything out of balance, in the body, it's going to get rocked and shaken up a bit. And it may, as the physical body's purging, physical body may just feel overwhelmed with all the shifts. So you may end up finding, physical changes. And I just remember in the last 10 days, I probably have used the word, I'm in shock. Okay, I'm in shock. Okay, this is shocking. All right, I know my body's in shock because, it's almost like when you're in that shocky phase when things have just made a dramatic shift in your family or your community or world news, your body goes a little bit numb. And so then it's like, I don't even know if I'm in touch with everything that's happening. So if you're experiencing any of that, just know that you are in really, really good company. And so let me introduce Humpty Dumpty nursery rhyme. So the nursery rhyme is Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men could not put Humpty together again. And so this is this whole theme. And when you're thinking about it, it's like no one from the outside in your universe is going to be able to put you together again. However, you are. You're going to be able to stitch those bits together again, but it's not ever going to go back the way it was. And so it's like we just can't keep going backwards. We just have to accept the new normals. Now, we're experiencing a little bit of this now, but in September, it's just going to keep kind of escalating. And so remember, we're stronger together than we've ever been apart. And so maybe there's times where we aren't meant to go back. We're not meant to go back to the way things were. September is about endings, breakage, and the courage to imagine a new shape. All right. Now, the collective ripple that is happening right now, there's global, personal impacts, individual. When I have been flash in the pan watching the news, it's just like I'll watch a little bit of news. I mean, within 2 minutes, it's just like boom. And I'm like, no. That did not happen. And then it's like, all right, I have to just shut it down because my body's trying to recover. Or how about things in your own town, your own community? How about things, in your personal family where it's like, I just need a minute, but you don't have time to take a minute. You just have to make that next step. I remember my spirit guides over the last couple of weeks. They're like, Nancy, there is no way you are going to be able to mentally understand everything that is unfolding in and around you right now. But the one thing you can do is take the next step and stand there Drop into it so that you can see and sense the next step. And that's what I've been doing. And it's been working out really. I'd like to think it's working. I've managed to keep some levels of sanity. All right. So how about when the event in 9/11 happened here in the United States? That is a big, major event that everyone can remember, where that shift rippled outwards. One person's crisis can become a family's turning point. And in the United States, it was a huge turning point. And I'm not quite sure that we've actually ever processed that whole event and how much things changed in the world and how we saw our lives. September's frequency is pushing us to see beyond our own personal stories. We are interwoven. No choice that you make is isolated. So I had somebody in my family had a big physical health crisis event, and I could feel every part of it in my own body as if it was happening to me. So when it's a personal relationship, you may think, well, I'm going to distance myself here. That's you, but not me. No, we are all weaved together. And for some of you, the extra sensitives, you can feel when a hurricane is happening. You can feel when there's an earthquake somewhere else in the world. We are all interconnected. And I really feel that September is going to help us get more of a sense about that. Psychologically, when people feel overwhelmed, your nervous system goes into overdrive, fueling drama, panic, and the urge to control the outcomes. And I know for me, I most certainly was trying to find some order in the chaos. And I'm a nurse. So, and with a health issue, I definitely am going to jump in with both feet. But it was always that reminder, things are unfolding as they should. Put the next foot, the next step. But having those awarenesses of this pattern can allow you to pause and breathe and take a step back. And like I said, our family, we're fortunate enough to have a lot of humor. And sometimes that can be misleading because, yeah, it did kind of throw us a little bit into a crisis, but we have humor to move through it. But sometimes people are like, this is kind of a serious event. Why are you laughing? It's just like, well, we can just find some humor in how we're moving forward. And it's like, all right, let's plan for the next shift. So speak the catalyst of conflict. Conflict is good. We don't like it, but it's good. Don't tell me it's good because I don't like it. So this is kind of how we're having to kind of deal with things. Speak to there's an increase in drama. There's an increase in fighting. There's an increase in emotional outbursts. Oh, and that was happening in my family as well, where it was like, one person said something to another person, they escalated and said something to another person, then they were all calling me. And I'm like, just give it 3 days. I'm telling everybody, just give it 3 days. Everything will calm down again. And so put yourself in the seat of being that person that says, give it a few days. Everything's going to look different in 3 days. And so this is September. It's just keep reminding yourself. So, and yet behind every argument or breakdown is an unspoken truth that life is asking you to change. That's what's happening. There's a lot of chaos. It means there's some choice points here to make changes. So every group, I've said, family, workplace, friendship, someone must be the change maker. We don't usually like them very much because we just want everything to remain calm. But that doesn't mean rushing in to save. It means being willing to stand by, conscious, self-aware, while others unravel. And that's what I was experiencing. It's hard. I'm a nurse. I'm a caregiver. I want to make things better. I want to make people feel better. And to just stand and hold the space and know that everything is unfolding, and my spirit will let me know when to step in, and my spirit will let me know when to step out. And that's where it comes, really listening to your intuition. So psychologically, this is where projections can happen, where we place our fears and judgments on others. And this was like a little bystander situation that was happening outside the major event that was happening. And it was like, well, you did this. And then they go, well, no, I did this because you did that. Well, you did this 30 years ago. And oh my God, I'm like, calm down, everybody. So it's like, this is where projections can happen. So you really want to be careful to not project your fears onto someone else, not project and say, well, if you will stop doing this, I will feel better. Just take one step at a time and just tune in, and what's going to help you to feel on solid ground at this moment in time, no matter what's going on around you. And so it helps you to reclaim your own responsibilities. Sorry, I'm reading some of your comments. And it's not funny, because I remember I used to be in those dramas like big time 20 years ago. And it just felt so valid, right? My feelings felt so valid. And so I get, when people are there. But again, just let a few days pass by, and how you feel and see the world just might have the potential to change. So this danger of overstepping those boundaries, like Lorraine said, some family members label avoidance as their desire to set boundaries. So I recently had a friend, and had a student. And if you're listening, you're going to know this is your story, but it was a great, great lesson that all the students learned. And so their friend called, said, I'm going through a divorce. I'm really upset. Lots of things happened. And so then the student says, I'm going to come over, I'm going to help, do a reading, help you clear your field, help clear any contracts and agreements or cords and all this stuff. So I asked the student, well, it kind of feels to me like you have a little bit of an agenda. And then they said, well, I guess I kind of do. I really want to help my friend out. And I'm like, well, they're going through a divorce. There's always more than two sides to the story. So maybe the spouse is the one that might be being emotionally injured. Like, we never know what happens behind closed doors. So the thing is, I was trying to teach my students to when you're doing a reading, just try to be neutral. We just don't know what the bigger picture is. And so there was a really great lesson in that, not to just ride in on your white horse, because you truly do not know exactly what's going on, but you can hold that neutral space for others that might be spinning out a little bit. And then, what am I saying? Wait a few days. They might get together again. And that was another phone call I was having. So I have this major event and these other kind of minor, but not minor events. And then this other one, there was a breakup. So it's like, my nephew's calling me, and there's a breakup with their partner. And so I just listened, over the next 3 to 5 days, little bits, and they got back together again. So just wait a few days, calm down. So this is a perfect example of September's energy that can push us into over involvement, right? Our desire to help often masks the unconscious agenda to feel needed, to control outcomes, or to avoid our own discomfort, as Lorraine was saying. And so in this month, conscious restraint. I had another friend tell me they were in a situation and they said, oh my gosh, it just about killed me to hold back and not jump in. And so this is what the frequency is trying to tell us. Let the frequencies ride. But this doesn't mean don't get involved. This just means listen to your spirit. Listen to your spirit. Do I step in? Do I step out? Let that be your guiding light. Let yourself be your guiding light. So instead of assuming we know what somebody else needs, you want to ask your spirit first. Psychological mirror here is codependence, when our own sense of safety comes from fixing others rather than fixing ourselves and holding our own center. So consciousness, becoming conscious. This is another huge one. So here you want to zoom out and get the bigger picture. Just like when I was talking to the students, it's like, all right, I can tell you have an agenda. I'm coming in. I'm going to help you to feel better. And then it was like stepping back without an agenda and looking at the bigger picture. We're being challenged by consciousness itself to become more conscious of what we're noticing around us without judgment or opinions or criticisms or assumption that I know what you need. Yeah, that's a tough one. September is right now is our testing ground. It's our time to practice. When I was doing my, when I had that beautiful talk with Pam Gregory, it's like these are like our practice sessions before the year 2026. So each triggered moment is a training exercise, like boot camp in awareness. All right. So again, we want to take one step at a time. And when you let your mind race into the future, guess what? You lose your grounding. And when you return back to the breath, return back to, I have a choice here in this matter. Return to the next step. And just keep saying what I know to be true for me right now. What I know to be true for me right now. Get you tapped into your knowingness. Get you tapped into your truth. Get you tapped into that confident level that I can go wash the dishes. What I know to be true for me right now is I can go walk my dog, and this chaos is going to still be there when I come back. And so just knowing what the next step of truth is for you. So use imagery to keep your head on straight. I call that all the time. That's what I say. It's like, I have got to get my head on straight when the whirlwind tries to spin you off course. So you might break, but guess what? You're also rebuilding. So let's return to the Humpty Dumpty metaphor. Sometimes we really do fall. And sometimes you really do break. And the truth is, a lot of times we're not supposed to put ourselves back together again. We're just not. The pieces scatter so that a new design of you can emerge. And this is not failure, it's called alchemy. At the psychological level, this alignment is also known as the ego death. It's an ending of grief cycles. It's a collapse of outdated coping mechanisms. What no longer serves: perfectionism, control, suppression, shatters under September's frequency. The gift is in the reimagining. Who do I become now that this old structure is gone? Breaking is not the end, but it's the beginning of becoming in a whole new way. Right. And Meredith is saying, I don't want to have to deal with it. And Meredith, when the winds of chaos picked up that house I was in and it began spinning out of control, and all the psychic skill and ability and spiritual strength and all this stuff that I have was not able to stop that spin. And then the house dropped on the ground, and I and my entire family was in a whole new reality. It's like, what are you going to do? You have to deal with it. Or not, I suppose. So we're going to talk about this we're going to reflect on how do we ground in this when you don't want to deal with it. September's going to challenge us when it comes to dramatic endings, collective ripples, the temptation to project onto others. I wouldn't be so miserable right now if you just respected me. I wouldn't be so miserable right now if you weren't constantly being a jerk. I wouldn't be so miserable right now. And so it is that choice point, like, step it up. And I promise you, when you say that, I want you to feel the frequency. It works. And when it's not working for you, I was laughing because I was going to go on this podcast, and Kathy, my office manager, I said, I don't think I can do it. I think it's been planned for like, I don't know, 3 months. I don't think I can do it. My head is just not in the game. And she's, step it up, Nancy, rev it up. You know this like the back of your hand. Do it. Don't cancel. So if you don't think you can do it, go talk to a friend who can encourage you. And so also it gives you a chance to bond more deeply to yourself and in your relationships, and connect with others more clearly, taking that one conscious step at a time. So I'm just encouraging you all to breathe deeply, place your hands on your heart, ask Spirit, what step is mine today? What step is mine today? That's their step. And they've got this, even if I don't see it. But what's my step today? I want to remind you that even if you feel cracked or broken right now, the breaking itself is a frequency of transformation. Susan's like, what was the house story? The house story was like in The Wizard of Oz, when the tornado picked up Dorothy's house and spun it around and dropped it somewhere else. So how about a guided meditation? I mean, it's happening. You can't make it any different than it is. September, you just can't make it any different. And does this mean that your life's going to fall apart? No. But for the collective, as we're not talking about falling apart, we're not talking about total breaking. We're just talking about a reorganization of you at a cellular level, because the frequencies you've been working with have just made a jump, have just made a leap, have just shifted. And so remember, you're doing okay, I'm doing okay, but we're going to hold that space for the collective, right? Radical acceptance. Thank you, Blair. Let's do a meditation. It's a good one, if I say so myself. And this full meditation will be sent out on next Tuesday with some music with it, so you can listen to it through all September. Okay. Go ahead, get yourself comfortable, close your eyes, turn within, just let yourself breathe while noticing your breath. Inhale deeply now and exhale fully. So breathing in fresh, uplifting, organized air, and breathe out any old dense toxins of chaos. As you breathe in and out, feel the weight of your body supported by the ground beneath you, and let yourself know that you are safe and you are held. It's just change. Not good or bad, it's just change. Now imagine that you're like a tree where you've got deep grounded roots that go from the area of maybe from the hips down on your body. It's going to go through the floor of the room that you're in. It's going to go through the basement. Maybe you live in an apartment. It's going to go all the way down through all the apartments below you, through the earth's crust, and keep allowing your strong root system to travel deeper and deeper and deeper until you sense intuitively, I know I'm at the magnetic core of the earth, and then wrap those roots right around the center core. Now bring your awareness to your heart and place your hand there if you wish, and feel the gentle rhythm of your breath and the steady beat of life that's held within you. Allow your heart to be your anchor. Now imagine, using those beautiful imaginations of yours, a tall wall. On top of the wall sits the metaphor, Humpty Dumpty. Humpty Dumpty, if you're not familiar, was an egg dressed up in clothes. Humpty Dumpty is round and fragile and balancing very carefully on top of this wall. Humpty represents the parts of you that you continue to try to hold together. Balanced, fragile, tipsy, holding yourself together to your own old routines, your old coping mechanisms, the identities, that the ways that you have seen yourself, that you have carried with you for so long. Now, in your mind's eye, you began to notice that Humpty is starting to wobble on top of that wall. Humpty Dumpty falls off the wall and the shell cracks. Pieces scatter across the ground, and just for a moment, allow yourself to feel what it's like to energetically fall apart. It's just a frequency. To not hold it all together for just these moments in this guided meditation, to let the illusion of perfectionism shatter. Breathe into that image. Remember, you're just simply working with imagery and frequencies and self-healing. The breaking is the blessing. Notice now that within those scattered pieces, a light begins to shimmer. Where the shell has broken, this beautiful illuminating light starts to pour out. The cracks glow like a golden fire, revealing that breaking is not a failure. Breaking is your blessing. Allow yourself to recall a time in your own life where something broke wide open. It might have been a relationship, it might have been a dream, a plan. And even though it felt painful, it created the space for something truer to emerge for you. Speak gently and silently to yourself. It's okay to fall apart. Talk to your body. It's okay to fall apart. It's okay to begin again. Now imagine a gentle breeze is moving through, and with it comes these golden threads of energy, soft, very strong. These golden threads begin to weave the broken pieces together, not in the old shape, the old fragile shape, but in a new design. You are being reformed into a stronger, more luminous pattern. The cracks remain, but instead of feeling weak, they are filled with this golden light where you are becoming a mosaic of resilience. Each piece, each broken piece has now become a portal for wisdom. So breathe it in, this new wholeness forming in you, and then exhale to surrender what is no longer a part of you. Now bring your attention back to your heart. Feel the warmth of these golden threads weaving through your chest, your belly, your mind. You are whole in a brand new way. You are more than you were before. Weave a little bit more. There it goes. Now I'm starting to see less fog and more light as I look out into our community. Say silently to yourself, I trust the breaking, I trust the rebuilding, and I deeply trust the light that shines through me. Go ahead, taking a nice deep breath. And as you let it out, just let your whole body start to stretch. Open your eyes and reorient yourself and check in before you started the meditation. How did you feel? And how are you feeling now? And you can go ahead and put it in the comment section. What you're noticing is the contrasting difference. Now, Nushka is saying, I'm really hoping that Oz comes because the tornado vibes are here too, and really big things. But what Nushka, I really want to say, and I want to share it with you all, that Oz was an illusion. The big, magnificent Oz of what we were dreaming was going to come and uplift us and make life better and help get Dorothy home. It was all out there. It was an illusion. And here is not an illusion. So you can imagine that that inner authority that you have, your inner ability to heal yourself is your truth, your pure truth. So Warrior Girl said, there really is a place called Oz in Atlantis. I imagine so. So I just want to, that's September. So let's just get ready. Let's just get ready. And how do you get ready? Well, kind of take out some of the unnecessary things in your life if your life is over busy and over full, so that you do have moments where if things do kind of get a little chaotic, you've got some room to deal with them and room to ground through them and room to find some sense of peace and upliftment for yourself. So just anything that for September that's just overly full, just kind of balance it out a little bit more. Remember, we're always stronger together than we ever were apart, and reach out to each other. We are collectively uplifting the consciousness of the planet. So don't forget, once we get the fall equinox up on the website, I will let you all know, but we all want to be a part of that because that's really going to help us in all the fall months leading into winter in the upper hemisphere and spring into summer in the southern hemisphere. All right, take care, everyone. Thanks so much for participating. I can't wait to read all of your comments after I close down the call. All right, take care, everyone.